It's that time of the day where we like to say it's Game Week predictions time. It's Game Week 11 and today is the day that we go unbeaten in every game. Well, we get them all right. Let's say we did last week. 13 points for me, 10 points for Spiky Barmy Army. So that means for the first time since Vietnam, we've won the episode. Yeah! Today's guest is the man, the myth, the legend, the Southend sensation. It's Diversity, not the dance group, the man. Into the first prediction. In the first game we have Aldershot versus Wealdstone, and Aldershot are coming off the back of a 1-0 victory away to Ultram. We gifted them their first win of the season. Oh my god, it was disgraceful. To be fair to us, we had the better chances throughout the first half, but going down to 10 men, it just killed us off really. I mean, we didn't create many chances to begin with, but as soon as we went down to 10 men, that was the sword through the heart of the Aldershot team. Ultram went on a dominant display in the second half. Luke Ashby-Hammond was absolutely sublime, but unfortunately, they get a penalty. I'll put the penalty up on the screen right now. Let me know in the comments, do you think that it's a penalty? Personally, I'm sat on the fence. But yeah, we lost. We play Wealdstone, who are coming off the back of a 1-0 loss to the boys of Southend. Diversity was over the moon with that performance. The dance battle may continue. Wealdstone now on 4 draws and 1 loss in the last 5 games. So fingers crossed, this is a game that Aldershot should be getting a result out of. Yes, I know, before you guys say in the comments, Ultram was as well, but we lost. Shut up. Lewis Kinsella will be back for this game. Kretschmarth, the next Woking player, will also be playing. I mean, in the F Young's ex-Woking, he'll be playing for us. The teammates will be reuniting on the opposite sides of the field. Jack Cook will be back, pocketed by Innie F Young. He's going to destroy him, and Lucas, I know you're listening to this, bloody about to punch me in the face. But come on, the boys. My score prediction for this is Aldershot 2. Wealdstone 1. We go 3 games in a row, winning at home for the first time in forever. Diversity. What do you got to say for yourself?
Yo, boys and girls, it's your boy Diversity here, working today with Hiccup EU to sort out and to work out match day week 11 of the National League. Who's winning? Who's losing? Who might get a sneaky win here? Who might have an awful weekend? I'm here with Hiccup today to work all of this out. So into my first prediction I go, Aldershot versus Wealdstone. Both teams not in great form, if I'm honest. It is going to be a tough game. Aldershot do have a great record at home. They've won their last 2 there, but sit a bit lower down than what they'd like to be saying. I'm going to go 1-1, if I'm honest. I think it's going to be straight down the middle. Draw. Aldershot will hold High Flyers Wealdstone.
Following on from that, we have game 2, which is Barnet versus York. And Barnet are coming off the back of a 9-goal thriller against Dagenham and Redbridge. Conceding in the 92nd minute. Absolute heartbreak. Josh Walker confirmed his hat-trick. What a baller, by the way. Barnet with my gran. I'm sorry. One interesting thing to take from this game, though, is Nicky Kabamba did get himself 2 more goals, which puts him up to 4 for the season. He'll be confident going into this game and hoping to bag again. With Nicky Kabamba leading the line for Barnet, Lennell John Lewis leading the line for York, this is going to be a very interesting encounter. York coming off the back of a 3-1 loss to Notts County at home. Macaulay Langstaff just unbelievable. He scored himself a double. Anyone facing Macaulay Langstaff this season, you better get yourselves ready. York are 6th in the away table this season, and Barnet have only lost 1 game at home, winning the other 3, so it's going to be a very interesting encounter, but it's 1. But I think that York City will win. I'm going York City 2, Barnet 1. Diversity. Do you agree?
Into my next prediction then, Barnet versus York, 10th versus 9th. Barnet had a great start to the season, up there, top of the league, but have slipped of recent weeks, and York only just getting promoted, surprising quite a few teams here where they sit in the table in 9th. I think York are going to nick this, if I'm honest. 2-1 to York at Barnet at the Hive.
And in game number 3, we have Chesterfield versus Maidenhead, top of the league, versus a team that really should be bottom, based on my predictions at the start of the season. I'm running out of breath. Chesterfield got a nice victory in the last game. Oldacre, 94th minute when the game looks lost. Bang, back in the net. First goal of the season. The Spireites managed to secure themselves that victory in the 94th minute. Just shows why they are the league leaders. And if they can keep this up, then my prediction will be right. And they'll win the league. Shamanga added to his tally 12 minutes after being brought on. Shamanga has now scored 3 games in a row. What a baller. In Maidenhead, I backed you guys last week. I've backed them twice this series, and they've lost both times. Gateshead, a nice 1-0 victory against them, and Maidenhead now have 4 points in their last 5 games. Chesterfield are still 100% at home, so I think that they will carry on this game. They'll get themselves another victory. I'm going Chesterfield 3, Maidenhead 0. and Jeff King to score. What do you got to say, Diversity?
Next up, Chesterfield versus Maidenhead. The high-flying Spirates sitting in first place under Paul Cook. They've been dominant as of weeks, but Maidenhead are a tricky outlet to play against, but I don't think it's going to be a tough opposition for Paul Cook's side. 3-0 Chesterfield.
In the next game, we have the Battle of the D's. It's Dorking versus Dagenham and Redbridge, and wow, this game's going to have a lot of goals. Daggers, after a poor start, have won back-to-back games, scoring 9 goals and conceding 5. Most recently involved, as I previously mentioned in this video, in a 9-goal thriller versus Barnet. Josh Walker securing himself a hat-trick, so he's going to be firing this game, and Dorking like conceding goals. Dorking in their last 5 matches have won 3 and they've lost 2. 20 goals in those games, by the way, and they've scored 7. They're leaky at the back. 1 point separates these two sides in the table, so it should be a very close encounter. Oh, it's going to be a tough one. I'm going to be backing Dorking in this fixture because Dagenham and Redbridge have 1 point away from home all season, and Dorking at home, well, I mean, they just beat Knox County. They're a different animal. Dorking Wanderers were 2-0 up against Scunthorpe, by the way, and they lost 3-2. It's unbelievable, Jeff. Diversity, do you agree or not?
Dorking Wanderers versus Dagenham and Redbridge. Both teams ship goals for fun. Just to give a few examples here, Dorking lost 4-1 to Borehamwood and 5-0 to Wrexham, whilst Dagenham 5-4 versus Barnet at the weekend lost, 4-1 to Wrexham loss, and 5-0 to Knox. They're going to be very passive, these teams, on the weekend, I feel. I feel it's going to be a 1-1 draw between the two. There's going to be too much sitting back.
In the next game, we have Halifax versus Woking. Halifax have not scored many goals this season. They've only scored 3. Is it time for Millington to go? Halifax have now lost 2 in a row, most recently losing 1-0 to Eastleigh. So going into this game against an informed Woking, they're going to be terrified. Woking just took down 10-man Solihull 2-0 at home. To be fair to them, they were 2-0 up when they did get their red card. He got sent off in the 65th minute, and from that point, Solihull, as good of a team that they are, they're never going to be turning that around. Woking are now up to 7th in the National League table, having lost 1 in their last 5. They've conceded 3, they've scored 9. Oh god, please don't get promotion. No matter how well Woking are doing, I will never, and I repeat, I will never back them. So I'm going Halifax 1, Woking 0, and that's because Halifax have only scored 3 goals all season, so they won't score many. Woking don't concede many. So yeah, Halifax 1-0. Diversity, you're going to be backing Woking, aren't you?
Halifax versus Woking. Halifax's season, compared to last, has been a dreadful start. First 10 games in, they sit 22nd, when last year they were in a playoff fight. It's not been a great summer at all for Halifax. For the Shaman, it's been a struggle. But Woking, sitting up in 7th, a bit unpredicted if you ask me. I think Woking are going to nick this at the Shay. 2-1 to Woking.
Following on from that, we have Gateshead versus Eastleigh. Both teams coming off the back of a 1-0 victory. It's going to be a stale one. After defeating Maidenhead 1-0, Gateshead now have 4 points in their last 2 games. They're hoping to continue this form into the game against Eastleigh. Eastleigh also got their first win in 5 games, narrowly edging past the Shaman, who don't score many goals, so as long as you get that first initial goal, as Aldershot showed, you're just going to destroy them. Although they didn't destroy them. That's not the point. Shut up, me. Both sides do not score many goals, so I think it is going to be a very, very close one. I'm going to be predicting a draw. It is going to be Gateshead 1, Eastleigh 1, and Diversity. Are you going for a draw as well? Or are you going to be not boring, like me?
Gateshead versus Eastleigh. A long day for Eastleigh fans. If they're travelling up to Gateshead, it is going to be a long day. But the form says a bit different. 11th versus 17th. Both teams are in decent form. Gateshead not winning in their last 3 games. I think Eastleigh might nick this, you know. For those Eastleigh fans who travel up there, you might be rewarded this week. 2-1 Eastleigh.
Next up, we have Knox County versus Ultram, and surprisingly saying this, both teams are coming into this game off the back of a victory. Why do we have to lose? There is one man that I need to mention. I've already mentioned him already, but I'll mention him again. It's the National League Haaland. It's Macaulay Lagstaff. 12 goals in his last 10 games. Well, the 10 games that have been played this season. He is on fire. Altrincham coming off the back of a 1-0 victory against the Shots. Mark Mosley's men went down to 10 men. Before half-time, Tom Whelan getting given his second yellow card. Controversially, I know, it was an absolutely rubbish bloody decision. We gave them a victory, man. It's 23rd versus 3rd, so surely there's only one winner in this fixture. The amount of times I've said this is unbelievable. The amount of times I've got it wrong is unbelievable. The National League. It's so hard to predict. Alty have had 2 points on the board away from home this season, and Notts County have played 4 games at home and they've got 10 points. So that is why I am backing the Nottingham boys. It is going to be Notts County 3, Alty 0. Don't you dare upset me now. Diversity, it's your time. Show us what you've got.
Notts County versus Altrincham. 3rd versus 23rd. Notts County have been on a roll as of late. You can't stop them. They've won their last 4 out of 5 games. And Altrincham, last season it didn't finish well for them, just finishing above the relegation zone. Now this year, down there in 23rd. It's going to be a tough game for Ultram. I'm going to go 3-0 Notts County. Too dominant on the field.
And in the next game, we have ourselves what is quite frankly the best game of the weekend. It is what the Wrexham fans like to call themselves a derby. Well, no, I just spoke to Kez, a shout out to you, and he said that the Wrexham fans see it as a derby. So they have decided to buy every single ticket in the away end. It's sold out. What a weird way of describing that. Wrexham currently sits 2nd in the National League table on unbelievable form. The last time that they lost was that 2-0 loss to Chesterfield. The Spyrites were unbelievable that night, and today they will not be looking to drop any points. Oldham have appointed their new manager that goes by the name of David Unsworth. That man is an absolutely incredible manager. The pedigree of a Greek god. Okagbue has extended his loan until January. I'm so sorry if I've butchered that. John Rooney has signed. Oldham, finally, on the up. Will they start getting points? There's only one way to find out. On recent form, Oldham have lost 3 out of their last 5 games. They did, however, win their last game at Boundary Park. A nice 3-2 win over Eastleigh, a 5-goal thriller. Will it happen again? As I've previously mentioned, Wrexham have only dropped 2 points in their last 7 games, which is unbelievable stuff. They're very unlucky not to be top of the National League, to be honest. It's just how good Chesterfield have been, getting those last-minute equalisers, getting those last-minute victories. Will it change? Well, eventually it will if Chesterfield keep bloody leaving it till late to bloody get their points based on form. You've got to back Wrexham to win this. However, I have a sneaky feeling that Oldham will get something out of this game. And I always mention how that I never get any Oldham predictions right. But today, I will. It is going to be Oldham 1, Wrexham 2. Gotcha. Now, diversity. You're named after a dance group, so show us what you got.
Oldham versus Wrexham. Can you really stop Wrexham? I know my club, Southend, drew 0-0 with them, which is brilliant for us. But Oldham, we played them as well. They didn't look good, but they do have the new manager in, which is always good. It's a new manager bounce. And, you know, is it going to stop Wrexham? I really don't think so. I reckon it's going to be 3-1 Wrexham on the day.
In the next game, we have Solihull Moors versus Bromley. And Solihull Moors, the shock result of the weekend, lost 2-0. To Woking. I know. To be fair to them, they did go down to 10 men. However, the game was probably gone by that point. Woking were 2-0 up at home. Their home form is quite good, to be fair. As much as I hate to say it. Although, it's not against us. We always beat them. And that loss marks 2 losses and a draw in the last 5 matches. Solihull's starting to fall off. What's going on, Jeff? Bromley now on back-to-back victories after that beautiful 3-0 victory over Oldham. They've now won 3 games in 4, which gave Andy Woodman the manager of the month. Bromley only 3 points away from home this season, so I think that they are going to drop points for the first time in a while. Well, I say the first time in a while, it's like bloody 2 games, you fool. But I am backing Solihull to get back to winning ways. Their players are too good to be on such a losing streak for too long. Alex Reid, Andrew Dallas, Callum Howe, the list goes on and on and on and on. But anyway, my score prediction, Solihull Moors 2, Bromley 1. I think Bromley will put up a fight because they are a brilliant team. I think they will achieve the playoffs. So will Solihull. But Solihull, at home, will edge it. Diversity. Get on with it!
Now this is a tasty one. Solihull versus Bromley. It doesn't sound big on paper if I'm honest, but you know what? 6th versus 5th. Bromley up there fighting for that promotion spot, as are Solihull. Similar to Barnet, Solihull were up at, I think, in 2nd and 1st place, jostling with Barnet, and now they've slipped a bit in the 6th. I reckon Solihull will just nick this down to the quality of players. 2-1 to Solihull.
Next up, we have Diversity's boys in Southend versus Yeovil at home. Surely, this is a game that they should be winning. Southend coming off the back of a victory away at Wealdstone, securing their first away victory of the season. It is absolute limbs. Yeovil drew against Bournemouth, making that 4 draws in their last 5 matches. The only match that they've won this season was a 1-0 victory over Dagenham and Redbridge. Apart from that, they just draw. IKEA has returned to the National League. Southend have decent home form, to be fair. 7 points in 5 matches is quite decent for the National League. So I'm going to be backing Diversity's boys in Southend. It's going to be Southend 2, Yeovil 0, Diversity. I'm sure you're going to be backing your boys. So what's the score?
Southend versus Yeovil. My club. I'll try not to be biased here, but Blues are really coming to their stride as of late. Been playing some exceptional football, start at the back, work it up into attack. Yeovil sitting down in 19th. They need a win. They're 1 point off the bottom of the table. They've had a really slow start. It's going to be tough, but I reckon Blues, without being biased, will win on the day 3-1 or maybe 3-2. It will be a high-scoring game, I reckon.
In the penultimate game of the weekend, we have Lana Road's favourite fixture. We have the Battle of the Bottom. It's Scunthorpe versus Torquay. Both teams with 1 in 5, but Scunthorpe coming off the back of a victory in the last game. They were 2-0 down against Dorking Wanderers and won 3-2. What a comeback. In their last 2 games, they have a win and a draw. 4 points in the last 2 games is a good record to be going into this fixture, where they really need to be getting some points. Torquay, on the other hand, well, they just got battered 6-0 by Wrexham. Oh dear. Torquay have picked up 1 point at home all season. You know when Aldershot have a better home record than you, that something is wrong. Torquay, you're in the mud, and you're going to be losing yet again. My score prediction for this match is going to be a close one, but it's one that I think Scunthorpe will narrowly edge. It is going to be Torquay 1, they will get a goal, Scunthorpe 2, and a nice victory for the Scunners. That's not their name, but I just said it. Diversity. It's your go.
Bottom of the table we go. Torquay versus Scunthorpe. Scunthorpe won at the weekend, came down from 2-0 versus Dorking to win 3-2. Torquay has not been great. They lost 6-0 to Wrexham at the weekend, and it's very troubling times for Torquay at Plainmoor. I think Scunthorpe are going to win 1-0. I think they're going to nick this. Both teams need the win, but I reckon Scunthorpe are going to go for it more.
And in the last game of the episode, we have Boreham Wood at home to the almighty Maidstone. Boreham Wood in their last 5 games, after winning 3 in a row, have come off the back of 2 draws, so they've fallen off a little bit, but they're still undefeated. Maidstone, however, have lost 3 of their last 4 matches, most recently losing in that unfortunate result against Chesterfield, them scoring a 94th minute equaliser. No, them scoring a 94th minute winner. It's heartbreak. Boreham Wood are 22nd on home form. Can we just take that in? I mean, Boreham Wood, I'm sorry, but it's just Tim Pot. I'll put a picture up on screen now, but I'm sorry, but it's rubbish. But when you didn't think it could get any worse, it has. Maidstone have only picked up 4 points away from home this season, so it's going to be a snooze fest. Boreham Wood, however, sit 4th in the National League table, so that is why I'm going to have to back them. Luke Garrold's men will get a victory again. My score prediction for this match: Boreham Wood 2, Maidstone 1. For the last time this episode, the heart is breaking. Diversity. After this, you'll be leaving me forever. What's your score prediction?
Finally, for me, Boreham Wood versus Maidstone. 4th versus 16th. Boreham Wood undefeated in 7. Got a great team they've got playing there. When they came to Rootsall to play Southend, they played the game exceptionally well. But Maidstone are tricky opposition, to be fair. I'm not going to rule Maidstone out here. They drew 1-1 with Wealdstone, and they only lost by 1 goal versus Chesterfield a couple of weeks back. I reckon it will be tight for most of it, but I reckon Boreham Wood have the quality up there to finish the game off. So I'm going to go 2-0 to Boreham Wood, I reckon. It's been a pleasure to record on Hiccup EU's channel today. I hope my predictions do right at the weekend, but most importantly, I hope my team do bloody well at the weekend. And for all the Shots fans on this channel, hope you get that sneaky win. Come on.
Thank you all very much for watching this video. First thing I would like to say is make sure to go and check out Diversity's channel. If you haven't already, he is an absolute baller. He's a legend. He is hilarious. What a man. His link will be in the title in the first line of the description, so if you haven't already, go and drop him a sub. But I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. Subscribe to me as well. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. You already know what it is. But until next time, I hope I get some points. I hope I win this episode again. I will see you beautiful people later. Let's go!
Bye, bye, bye.